So just wanted to hop on here. I was just listening to two books, finished Rocket Fuel. Now I'm listening to E-Myth, and it was interesting. They were talking about three different types of people in a business. It's actually three different versions of me, which is a technician, manager, entrepreneur. And the end of Rocket Fuel had me thinking before that, like, why am I doing what I do? So I want to talk about why I'm doing what I'm doing in this video. Coming from the point of like why I started my business, why I do what I do, why, yeah, exactly that. So I'm gonna jump into this. If you haven't met me before, my name is Bengreen. I run a consulting firm, and we do consulting on systems, primarily in Airtable, Zapier, no-code solutions. And that actually brings me to exactly what I'm doing. If you're interested in any services, you can check out the link in the description and request a call with me or my team. Actually, you can book a call with me or my team. But why I do what I do, there's a lot of reasons. If you've watched any of our recent live streams, you'll know, kind of go off. I don't go off, but I express my feelings about this. And this is exactly why I started. So I went to college. Actually, my degree's right here from IU Bloomington. If you want to see it, you can see right there. Got my degree from IU Bloomington in Information Systems and Operations. There, the goal was primarily to go into a large organization, work for one of the big four consulting firms, or work for Oracle, NetSuite, work for a really big tech company. So what they were giving us were tools that would be useful in those companies. And I was looking ahead, and I was like, who is in my spot that I will become in 10 years? Who are those people? So I looked at those people, and they were nothing wrong with this. This is what you want, but this is not what I wanted. They were all overweight. They didn't look happy with their lives. They were stuck in a dead-end job. They were capped at whatever their time was worth. And yeah, I was like, I do not want to be in that position. So just change hands. I'm sorry if the audio gets a little bit louder, but I did not want to be in that position. And also at the same time, I was going to school for information systems, learning coding and R programming in SQL and C# and JavaScript for HTML, CSS. And I was like, man, this is also really not what I'm going to be doing, but I saw the skills extremely valuable. I took two really advanced classes in Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Access, and I was just really putting it together. I don't want to go work where the big corporations are, and I don't want to go work where the big corporations are, but I've gained so many skills, so many technical skills that would be so useful. They have to be useful in smaller businesses, but I didn't see anybody else fundamentally using those skills in a small business. And sorry, my hand's shaking. I just went and worked out, so still a little tingly from that. Also, check out this view, Dallas, Texas. But I was like, these skills would be so useful, I'm sure, in a lot of small businesses. So that's exactly what I set out to do. I was going to graduate in 4 years, doubled up on some classes so I could graduate in 3.5. And I was like, I'm going to make this work, because I found a tool called Airtable, which is, if you watch the channel, you primarily know that's that's the tool that I use. And what is so significant about Airtable is it's like a structured Excel. It's called a relational database, so you can relate different types of information. And that's exactly all the structural and all the enterprise systems architecture that I learned how to create in school, meant for these huge organizations. What I can now do is take those concepts, bring them down to the small business level, and then here's the kicker: everything I do is without code. So the entrepreneur in me is why is this knowledge base reserved in school for the people going to big, large universities? How can I take this and make it more applicable to the businesses that could actually really use this? They could actually really use solid systems, which will help them from being a solopreneur, entrepreneur team of less than 5 to be able to scale their operations and really systematize their business. So that's what I learned in all the operations classes, was how to take processes, systematize them. It's also a concept by Roy Vaden. He has a TED Talk. He talks about eliminate, automate, delegate, procrastinate, something like that, running your systems through that. But the entrepreneur in me was like, how can I take these and apply them to small businesses? And then also the entrepreneur in me is like, why do all these systems have to have so much code in them and be so complex that like no small business owner is gonna be able to learn and like know how to use their systems? So I was like, and the other part of it is like, when somebody codes in your system, you're tied to that person because it's their code. Code is like, people write code in a lot of different ways. It's like a language, and it's sometimes it's their own language if they didn't learn it fundamentally. And so that's what I see in a lot of people's Airtable systems, is it's someone else's code, they patched it to make it work for their system. They hired anyone to do anything on their team. But anyways, like, business owners don't want to learn code, so why am I even talking about that? So that's why I took the approach of like, how can I if I make everything structurally sound, and then I bring in all of these useful tools like Zapier and Integromat to make the system like automated, I can do everything that I see other people doing with code without code. Just because I, from the beginning, have the fundamental knowledge of structurally making it sound, and then like, you don't have to do all these workarounds in code. And I spent the time to learn all the workarounds without code. Like, they're not even workarounds, it's just fundamentally structurally sound. And then you just don't need code, because there's only 2 examples of when I needed code. One is just a very complex example. The other one can be done without code. I just choose to not use that tool that can do it without code. So, and it's like a copy, it's like 3 lines of code. It's insanely easy. That one is. It's just deleting a record in Airtable. So you can do that with Integromat. But that's kind of where I'm coming at with like why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's largely just like, I'm so tired of seeing all the big organizations, like, sure, they have the resources, they need to hire these technical experts, but so do small businesses. Like, small businesses need the systems to scale just from where they're at to like where they're trying to get. And largely what I see is people are flying alone, they're flying blind with this or without systems. And it's like really cutting into their profits because they have to hire more team members because they think adding maybe more team members might fix it. It doesn't. It just makes it, forget my words, but a crappy system function worse because people are harder to manage than an automated system. So I just wanted to come on here and share like my why for like why I got into this, because I shared it with a few people and they've agreed with me. And there's a lot of like even just Airtable developers that are like very fond of code. And I understand in certain situations, but those situations are like when you have code running a no-code solution. Like, if you build a custom app in Airtable, it doesn't even look like code, but there's code behind it. There's code behind Airtable, but you don't see the code. So I just want to share my reason for why I started. I want to, like, Airtable says like they want to democratize software creation, but without like the training videos on how to properly build a database in Airtable. Like, I'll link that at the end of this video. You'll click on it in the end screen and you can go watch my video on creating a relational database structurally sound in Airtable. But like, Airtable is putting too much like people go to scripts way too fast. I have never used a script other than the delete a record in the client space. Like, I have never found a situation where I needed to other than delete a record. It's only because Airtable hasn't added that as a no-code solution. So I'll link that video right at the end if you agree with me and you want to book a time to talk with me and talk about getting some of these kinds of systems set up in your business. There's a link down in the description. But if you want to build things structurally sound and use some of the knowledge that I've gained at IU, learning enterprise software systems structure and how to bring it to your small business, go watch this video right in the end screen. It's going to be an intro to relational databases, and it's really going to set you up for a lot more success. If you're just starting your Airtable system, if you're already started and you're tired of doing it alone, you can try to watch that, rebuild your system, but at some point, everybody's tired of doing it alone, and so that's typically when I see people book a call with me. But go click that video right there in the end screen, and it'll take you to that relational database video. See you there.